Building champions for life didn't just happen overnight. Since 1920, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, SWAC, has been in the forefront in leadership and excellence in all our athletic programs. There are very few major sports halls of fame that a SWAC athlete is not a member. Hall of Fame coaches who were stewards and mentors to these elite athletes. Our tradition, our distinction, our legacy. We are the SWAC, building champions for life.
USA, this is Stephanie.
Hi, this is Robert. I'd like to get up to 30% off my auto insurance with Safe Pilot.
I can help you with that. What's your member number?
87.
It should be between 5 and 12 digits.
Busted. This is Super Bowl champion Rob Gronkowski. I'm not a member.
Mr. Gronkowski, USAA is for the military community and their families. That's what makes us special.
Oh, but I'm special.
USAA, it's still only for the military community.
Academy Sports and Outdoors is your Nike headquarters. We are proud to offer the best and newest Nike apparel, footwear, and sports equipment. From football to baseball, basketball to soccer, and everything in between, Academy is your place for Nike. For back to school and back to the field, head to toe, your home for Nike is Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It is day 2 of the 2022 SWAC Volleyball Championship. We are down to the semifinals. Tamika Newman alongside myself, Tali Carr. Tamika, we had an exciting day yesterday. The tension will be even thicker today. Win today, your best out of 5. You advance to the SWAC Championship game. In front of us today, we have Alabama State University, Jackson State. Alabama State is the top seed, but this is a scrappy Jackson State team. They have the tools to potentially pull off an upset, but they're going to have to get it done on the court. When you look at this matchup, what are your thoughts when you think about the position that both teams are approaching for this match?
Well, you said it right. They definitely have a chance. Alexis Williams is going to need some help, though. She's going to need Olivia Flanagan and Morgan Chambers to put the ball away. They definitely put up a great block, so Alabama State will have to be down in coverage, ready to defend, because Jackson State's going to be up there over the net, pressing and blocking everything. And if you're a great blocking team, you always have a chance. But ASU serves really, really tough. Those serves are going to be an issue. They can hit from everywhere on the court. They have number 3, Khalesia Bates. She's amazing. Not to mention Mahogany Vincent, senior middle blocker. She's pretty dominant. They come at you with so many weapons. Jackson State just needs to take it one play at a time, play for each other, stay locked in, stay focused, and then play to their strengths, and this will definitely be a game here today.
Alabama State is littered with all SWAC selections. There's a lot of talent on that Jackson State side as well. I think this will be action today, could potentially be even better than yesterday. Everyone's got that tournament atmosphere already. They took it in for day 1. The butterflies are maybe subsided just a little bit. Both teams should be settled in after having a day's victory under their belt.
Absolutely. Everything's calmed down. The stakes are certainly still really, really high, but those first day jitters should be out, and we should see great volleyball today.
All right, the fans are filing in. I'm here with Tamika Newman, the star in the state of Texas in volleyball. Look at her. She's smiling. You can't see her. She's over here smiling. Tamika,
oh, I'm flattered.
former player at Prairie View A&M. Did some coaching in the SWAC as well. So she's excited. I'm excited, and we are ready to get underway. Alabama State right into the net on the first serve here.
Not the way you want to start out the set. Coach White not even looking at her.
Jackson State will take that. They get a gift to open things up here. Alexis Williams on the serve. And she goes right. Okay, let's do the intro all over. Both teams are still nervous.
Wow, 2 serves in the net right out of the gate. Saying something. I don't know what it's saying, but
out of all things I expected, I did not expect 2 faults to start the match today, but here we are. All
unfortunate for Jackson State. Alexis Williams, one of their best servers. Looks like they put her first in the lineup to serve for a reason. Didn't get a chance to capitalize on it.
Oh, right at the net. That was one that got away from Jackson State. And you talked about it, Olivia Flanagan. She was right there. That was a chance for her to block that one down for a kill, but she put it right into the net. So Alabama State up 2-1. And serving to JSU. So that's a way to make up for it there for Flanagan.
Tolly, I think Coach Rose heard me say they needed to go to her a lot more. She was going to be really effective over in the right side, and that's what they're doing.
And early on, we're tied up at 2. That was Bray who got it over on the serve. Bray kind of struggled with her serve at times yesterday, but Alabama State's going to get this point.
That was a great pass, great set, great hit.
And the Lady Hornets. This is Kalisha Bates on the serve. Back to the sweet spot, but there's a block party at the line for Alabama State.
Alabama State's figured out they're probably going to go to Flanagan here. Middle got a chance to cheat over just a little bit. They were there ready and pressed inside the court.
And we have a stoppage here.
Looks like there's a overlapping issue. Official corrected it. And moving on along.
All right, Alabama State serving up 4-2. And thought about it. Thought a little too long, and that one stayed in. It's going to be point Alabama State.
It's a really great float serve. Had no spin on it, and it just dropped.
It's one of those serves that makes you think a little bit more than just react. And good point there for Jackson State. And we really saw that come into play with several of the matches yesterday. That float serve. If you got a good server who can utilize that, it really is a weapon in your arsenal.
Absolutely.
What are the key elements to execute the float serve?
It's making sure you're at the back of the ball. You can't be slightly under, slightly on top. It's swinging with a really good pace, but not finishing your swing. Having a nice firm hand, finger spread. Contacting the ball out in front of you.
That's a point for JSU. Alexis Williams right over off the fingers onto the ground point, JSU.
It's a great pass and serve receive. We had all options. Swung a little too wide. I really like that Alabama State's going with their middles here early on in the set. I'm a little biased. I'm a former middle blocker. So
You are. You love the action when it comes to the center of the net. I took notice of that yesterday.
Absolutely. Set the middle. Set the middle. They're working really hard, covering the entire length of the net, blocking, and you got to reward them.
Hey, you got to feed. I think they might be adjusting the scoreboard, or there's something they're working on here. The officials talking to Coach White. You see Coach White there. Penny Lucas White, head coach, doing a great job at Alabama State. They have had won 4 championships in a row when you look at that 2016 to 2019 span, 2020, and then we had the spring season. Jackson State was in there, and then we come back. FAMU enters the conference, and then they flex and come away with the championship. So Alabama State looking to potentially regain the throne this year in the postseason.
Tolly, when you talk about that 2019 title, it's a little emotional for me.
Story time. Story time.
I was on the Prairie View bench as an assistant, and we lost to him in the final in 2019. So that always sucks.
We talked to Coach Adams yesterday. We were talking about the challenges and how she enjoyed the fact that coaches can now challenge calls. And she had to go story time. I think it was 2017 for her. There was a call that she felt like in the championship didn't go the right way, and she really wished she had a challenge. So
absolutely.
I think both of you guys really speak to the fact of these emotions run deep, especially when you get to the nitty-gritty here of do you win the trophy or do you get second place? And there's not a lot of solace in second place, is there?
No, you might as well not even get to the championship game if you don't win it. Getting second is no solace. It doesn't help you with the grieving process of losing. It's almost like you never got there. So it's usually championship or bust.
It was so, I felt so bad for some of the young ladies yesterday when we left the arena. The last game, just seeing the ladies in the hallway and the tears and the disappointment and the parents there with them. It's the best and the worst part of sports. That's what makes sports good, because everyone cares. But then when you have to deal with the loss, that really hurts.
Absolutely. In high school, there's some athletes that are going to move on to college, so it's not exactly their last game. But in college, for the most part, with volleyball, that's it. It's your last volleyball game.
Into the net there. That was Morgan Chambers. She sized it up, but didn't get it over.
Yeah, she's got to find the court, put the ball in the deep corner, give her defense a chance.
From the side, good diving save there. And into the net. That's going to be a point for ASU. Alabama State up 8-4. We had all the instant replays after you left. I mean, it was replay city. Oh, good kill shot there.
Great pass and serve receive. Had all options.
We had touches. Were they touches? Was the ball on the sideline? It got really hectic after you left here.
I can only imagine.
Alabama State on the attack. That's going to be a touch, and point to the Lady Hornets.
Jada Rhodes does a really great job of seeing the block and using them. We talked about that yesterday. Is it strategic? Is it on accident? She's one of those players you can see that she definitely sees it, and she knows how to use the hands.
Big jump serve here. Strong serve. On the return, JSU and Alabama State is going to be out of bounds.
Great jump serve. That was a great pass and serve receive. Defender was there, stopped, passed a great ball, had all options.
Yeah, there was some smoke on that ball. Off the serve. Came just inside the line there. On the attack. Save on the back row, and look at that block party.
Wow, that is a solo block. Mahogany, that was huge, huge, huge block.
You're going to see it here. Mano e mano.
Great press, and she's fired up, and she should be. It's huge.
On the attack, double block there.
Set a little tight. Set her, hit her up right in the hands of those blockers.
Jackson State gets the point. You talked about it yesterday, Tamika. Really, the position, you kind of wanted a few feet away from the net on the set and not so tight.
Yeah, and setters have a tendency on their back sets to get them a little bit close to the net if they don't square or finish correctly. And that one just trapped the hitter. There was nowhere she could go.
JSU on the serve. Good block there, and that's going to be a point to Jackson State. Brea is really a wild card for Jackson State. Her ability, she was there, but it's actually her teammate who got the block.
It's a great way to Alexis Williams set up a great block.
Jackson State recovers that. Williams, and that's going to be out, and point to Jackson State. See there, the Oreo double stuff. And then Williams recovers.
Left back just sucked in a little bit. One more step and that ball probably comes up.
Oh, boy, that
Power tip.
looks like a dunk right there.
Alicia Bates with the power tip.
She left no doubt. Strong point there.
Both teams serve, receive. It's pretty even right now. This is going to be a really offensive game.
Got a substitution coming in.
Alexis Williams gets a chance to redeem herself right here. I don't think she's going to miss it.
But she does go long.
And she does go long. So
I've learned that there's the announcer jinx on the serve. Yesterday, every time somebody got, 2 or 3 points in a row, it's like, oh, they're doing a great job. Into the net.
oh, wow.
So I think we have the power of the jinx here on the serve calls.
Brick Adams with the great float.
Jackson just has to get that one over. Attack from the edge, but that's going to be a point to Jackson State. This one is a tight one. Actually, it's been so intense. I'm just now looking back up at the scoreboard, and Alabama State with a slim 12-11 lead here in the first set. Oh, that's
Got them out of system a good bit. And hopefully they can capitalize on this free ball.
Oh, soft touch, but good save there.
Way to lay out, number 23.
And it's a block party for Alabama State.
Coach Rose Washington is yelling at her team, hit the ball.
You see here, I don't know if there might have been a little space between the blockers there, but not able to take advantage of it. Oh, into the net that time. That's going to be point Alabama State.
It's a timing issue there. That was a great set. Morgan took off a little bit too soon and cut really, really fast. Wasn't able to clear the net on that.
Oh, that's one that you hate. Just skims right off your arm there.
Alicia Bates' service giving Jackson State a really hard time.
That one falls out of bounds. I told you about the jinx. As soon as you compliment a server.
You know what? You know what? I'm starting to believe that.
It's a real thing. I'm serious. Alabama State leads here in the first set, 15-12. Tali Carr, along with Tamika Newman, we're enjoying, just like you are, the semifinal round of the 2022 SWAC Volleyball Championship. We're on the campus of Texas Southern University in a rainy and cold Houston, Texas today. From the middle, not quite there. That's going to go out of bounds, a little too much.
I'd love to see Jackson State serve someone other than Brooke Adams and the libero. It's almost a guaranteed dime to target serving Brooke Adams and the libero.
Here comes Alabama State. Soft touch gets over. Jackson State able to recover from the middle. That's Williams, and it goes long. Or in.
That is a great corner shot.
Let's see it again. In real time, I thought that was out, but it just touched the line. And from the middle, yeah, it's in there. Good call by the officials.
That's a great call by the official.
See it one more time. Alexis, she is really She really brings a lot, whether she's on the front line or the back. Her ability, see right there from the middle, comes over and falls in. Official had her eye on the line.
Alexis Williams, one of those true 6 rotation outside hitters. In recruiting, you always think you're getting a 6 rotation hitter, someone who can hit front row, serve well, play defense and back row, serve, receive well. But sometimes you get a high school kid into your program and you realize they can't do it at this level. Alexis Williams has been doing it, playing 6 rotations since she got to Jackson State. So it's been awesome watching her growth and her dominance.
And what is it more than just her explosive ability to get off the ground? That's very obvious. If you know nothing about volleyball, you can look and say, oh, wow, she's a great leaper. What else does she bring skill-wise that allows her to be that player that you just described?
Her swing. Her swing is really fast and explosive. She can see the court well. She sees the blockers well. She's a great blocker, especially great at setting the block. She moves on from mistakes really, really fast when you start thinking about her mental game. Speaking of, kill right there in front of her.
Came out a rocket point for Alabama State.
I'd love to see Jackson State put up a double block.
That was Mahogany Vincent on the score.
In middle front there.
Duly noted. And a point on the serve for Alabama State. 17-14, they lead it here. First set, best of 5.
We are revisiting that overlapping issue that happened the last time they were in this rotation. Let's hope they can figure it out this time.
Alabama State leads it 18-14 here. That one's going to get them way out of system. Will they even get it over? They will not.
It's a great hustle by Alexis Williams.
Explain for our fans the overlapping issue that you talked about.
Based on where you are in front row or back row, you've got to be behind a certain person. In some cases, you need to be closer to the sideline than another person. So it's one of the hardest parts to learn in volleyball, those overlapping rules.
Jackson State gets the point there. The touch off Alabama State as it goes out of bounds on the kill. All right, Jackson State trying to climb back in it here, down 4. Oh, soft touch, mid-air decision.
Really tight pass by the passer. Setter didn't have a lot of room to work.
Good block there, Jackson State. Oh, just dumped it over. Found it right in the middle of the donut there. That was quick thinking, smart play.
Yeah, that ball dropped right in the middle. Left back or right back's got to play that ball.
See the block there and coming up. It's like, caught you sleeping right in the middle. You're there on the front row. You've played, obviously. Are you constantly aware of not only, passing on your side, but the spacing of the defense and seeing possible vulnerabilities? Or are you seeing both of those things at the same time?
As the team on defense or offense?
On offense.
On offense. Oh, absolutely. You're able to see some holes. And more times than not, the play before or all the plays before, a coach or a teammate said, hey, this is open, that's open. So you go up with that in mind.
So you're also trying to view and recall some tendencies that you've seen earlier.
Absolutely. So you roll with some tendencies. There's some times that you can see it. Sometimes those holes develop really late after you've made contact and you're not able to see it.
So here we are coming back from a timeout. It is the first set, best out of 5 in this match here. Alabama State. They lead Jackson State 20-15 at the 2022 SWAC Volleyball Championship here on the campus of Texas Southern University in Houston, Texas. You hear the fans here. The Jackson State fans are in attendance as always. You know Jackson State's going to show up. If nothing else happens, you know JSU will be here.
Absolutely. They travel well. That's going to be huge for Jackson State right here. Alexis Williams, 2 more rotations on front row. If she really gets going, they can still take the set.
That was Jada Rhodes serving the ball out of bounds. Swings it back to JSU, who cannot take advantage. Trinity Bryant right into the net. So that's Alabama State now 21, Jackson State 16. Alabama State on the serve. Williams.
Blockers still floating a bit, not over impressed, and that's a big block.
So we're now at 21-17. Have a substitution in for Jackson State. JSU serving.
Coach White coaching up to Nia Jones on where to get stopped and line up with the hitter.
Tomasi Thompson on the serve.
It's a great pass and serve receive, all options. It's a great hit by Tania Jones. She makes up for that block with a big-time kill.
Yeah, you saw that space on the back row where she attacked and it was open and she put it right on the money. All right, now Alabama State 22, Jackson State 17. They're inching closer here to taking this first set. From the edge.
Serves right to the libero. Like to see them serve someone else. It's a good use off the hands of the Jackson State block.
That puts the score now 23-17. Alabama State serving into the net. That's got to be like the 5th serve into the net we've seen here.
Been quite a few serves into the net. My personal coaching philosophy, I don't mind a serve out of bounds, out the back line every now and then, but serving in the net usually indicates your toss is wrong, too low, not in the right spot, a little bit more mental.
From the middle, that was touched by Jackson State, and point Alabama State. All right, Brooke Adams looking to bring it home here for Alabama State on the serve. She's been consistent with her serve, both yesterday and today. Right at the net, and doesn't get any easier than that for Bates, and Alabama State takes the first set, 25-18. Tamika, what'd you see? What'd you like in their first set?
It wasn't pretty. In some moments, it wasn't pretty. We saw a couple of big hits. I'd like to see them clean up the blocking. We had a lot of floating, so there were quite a bit of uses, and then the missed serves. I'm sure both coaches are going to be talking about that here in the break. Alabama State showed why they're the favorite. The graduate student, Kalicia Bates, was great. Jada Rhodes was able to capitalize on that floating block. And when they served over and in, they served well, especially Kalicia Bates, who serves from the basketball line. And there's absolutely no spin on that ball. It's just dropping so fast. It's really hard to read. So that was probably where they had an edge. I'd like to see Jackson State come back with a little bit more disciplined block, and then their hitters have got to get going. We knew that before the game started, that Olivia Flanagan and Morgan Chambers were going to have to help out offensively. So hopefully they're ready to do that this set.
All right, we've got about 2 minutes until action resumes. We'll take about a minute break here, and we'll come back with more from the 2022 SWAC Volleyball Championship from Houston, Texas. You're watching the SWAC Digital Network, and we'll be right back. And welcome back to the 2022 SWAC Volleyball Championship. Charlie Carr along with Tamika Newman. We are in Houston, Texas. Hey, if you're coming to the arena today, bring your umbrella. Where did all this rain come from, Tamika?
I did not check the weather. It caught me by surprise, but it is nasty out there. And not to mention cold. The ride in was a little crazy. Had to take it really slow.
Well, thankfully, volleyball here is an indoor sport. We're not doing beach volleyball today, so we don't have to worry about the rain.
It's a great pass and serve receive. A little bit of out of system.
Williams.
Wow.
She wound it up, but there was a block party waiting for her at the net.
It's a pretty big block. Looks like they've made some adjustments. There was no floating. Both blockers were stopped and pressing over.
All right, serve to Alabama State, and Brooke Adams gets it over. Jackson State sets it up from the corner. Alabama State recovers. Good block of the net there. Alabama State gets it over. Here comes Jackson State again. Williams. And rejected. Williams was.
Alabama State cheating over just a little bit. They know that ball's likely going to go to Alexis Williams. Just waiting, timing it perfectly, and pressing to zone 6.
A little indecision right there. Should I, would I, should I?
Absolutely. She was guessing, is this in, is this out? Got to make a decision and just stick with it.
And again, we've seen this yesterday. Brooke Adams, a very consistent, I'm not trying to put the jinx on her, but a very consistent server. Did a great job yesterday. She's doing a great job today. And right now she has Alabama State up 3-0 here in the second set after the Lady Hornets took the opening set here in the semifinal round. And that's going to be a violation on the serve here. And Brooke Adams just gives the thumbs up. She didn't put up much of an argument there. Service to JSU. Got a stoppage here.
I think we had something to come onto the court.
It was kind of weird. They kind of stopped at mid-play there, so we'll just start over again here.
A little bit of a distraction. That's a great ball and serve receive.
When you
Big hit.
give the ball to Bates right there in the middle, and that ball's at the right height, she sends it home every time.
It was a great quick set by the setter. Great connection. Bates just killed it. Great pass by Alexis Williams. There's that block again.
Jackson State gets the point out of bounds off of Alabama State, and here comes Bray at the service line. Her team trailing 4-2 here in the second set. Oh, the dive looks like a little out of position there.
Alabama State, 2 not so great passes on their last 2 tries at serve receive. Having to send the ball outside, not having a lot of options.
Jump serve here. Williams takes it to the outside, is stuffed, and Jackson State not able to recover.
I talked about it before the set, before the match. Covering your hitters is going to be huge.
Alabama State on the serve. Williams there to the middle, to the outside, and that goes out of bounds, point Jackson State. Couple of subs coming in here. We got Karis Dove and Jordan Jones entering the game for JSU. Dove is going to come right in. She's a freshman. She's from here in Texas.
It's a great pass by Brick Adams. Alabama State can really run their middle a lot if they pass well and serve receive.
You look here. This was just an assault on the ball, an assault on your opponent. Just look at the power here on the replay. Good recovery. Bumps it right over. Pass here to the middle. She in the net.
Alexis Williams is in the back row, and on her takeoff, she definitely touched the line. She can attack, but she's got to be behind that 10-foot line.
We saw that a couple times yesterday. So we stand right now, quick timeout. Alabama State up 8-3 over Jackson State. This is a crucial point in the match. Alabama State has already won the first set. I've kind of watched yesterday, that kind of 5-point margin. You're within 5, you feel like, all right, I can still reach back out and touch my opponent. But when that lead starts to increase beyond 5, it kind of has a different feel to it.
You're absolutely right. They've got to get a stop right here, or it could get a little bit out of hand.
When you look at the blocking that we've seen today, what have you seen? Who would you give an advantage to with the strategy and execution of the blocking?
Alabama State did a great job scouting, and they've played them 2 times. They know where they're going on certain plays and in what rotations. They're there, they're ready, they're stopped, and they're taking up space over the net. So you can tell they're pretty familiar, and they know what's coming next.
Our next matchup of the day, we'll have plenty of time to talk about that as the afternoon develops. We got FAMU and Bethune-Cookman, a big rivalry. They'll be playing in the semifinals after this
Great
match.
passes, serve, receive. Big time hit. That's an awesome slide, but it started with that great pass. It was a beautiful set, and then she found the deep court. Love the slide.
I was going to say, you like things from the middle, but that slide you're kind of fond of as well.
Absolutely. Love the slide. One of my favorite sets to hit as a middle blocker. Alabama State's liberos not serve receiving well right here.
Oh, got it over, but out of bounds. Point Jackson State. Jackson State pulls to within 3. They scored 2 in a row after that timeout.
Nice deep serve.
Point Alabama State just bringing the heat on that kill. See it here on the replay. The power.
Mahogany Vincent works really hard to get in every play. She transitions. She's calling for the ball. My kind of middle blocker.
Oh, the way she channels her energy on that ball, it's just...
It's a beautiful sight to see.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be out there with it coming at me, though. It's beautiful to look at. I wouldn't want to have to try to return it.
Absolutely. You don't want to be behind that ball. It's coming really fast.
Williams. And that's what the doctor ordered for Jackson State.
It's a big time play. It's a strategy coaches use. Serving the best outside hitter, maybe trying to overwhelm her, but probably not going to work with Williams. It's a great hit. We lost that middle option. The serve-receive pass wasn't great.
Williams gets them out of sorts on the return from the outside. Alabama State recovers, beating at the net. Goes over the top of the block. Williams gets it again.
Emily Brooks throwing a hand out there instead of letting Jada Rhodes make that play.
And the ball just careened off of Brooks' hands, out of bounds. Point goes to Jackson State. Just barely got that one over. Little dig on the save, but can't keep it in play. Alabama State, a couple rotation players in here. Rotates a couple players in, and Jackson State right in the middle there to the outside, and that's long. So Alabama State leads at 11-7 here in the second set. They already won the first set. Jackson State from behind. Bray.
It's a great dig by the libero. Goes into the net, can't really handle it.
Felicia Bates just tried a quick little, what I'm calling the backhand right there at the net, but couldn't quite get it over, and point goes to Jackson State. Thomas Thompson, senior from Puerto Rico, on the serve. To the outside. Blocked, but out of bounds. Point, Alabama State. Back on the service is Brooke Adams. In play to the middle. Soft touch with the left hand. Point, Jackson State.
And we have the internet call. Jackson State kind of had a miscue. They were running a trick play with a fake in there, and the set kind of went between both players. Nobody really knew who it was, so missed opportunity. I know Coach Washington's not pleased with that.
From the
Really fast set to the outside. Makes it really difficult for the back row defenders to get stopped and for the blockers to find somewhere to get stopped. It's a really great set.
Serving from the basketball line.
And R2 being pretty picky with the overlapping today.
Well, to the delight of the Alabama State bench, who was chanting, "You can't do that." It's going to be a double there. Pleading her case.
A little bit of a prolonged contact on that ball.
Oh, we have
And we got a yellow card. So she kind of kept talking to the referee. They're being really strict this year on players, coaches not responding to the calls. So she got a yellow card. She should be fine. Coach Rose is going to have some words with her after the set, but
I think that's our first yellow card of the entire tournament. From the corner. Good dig there to get it back over by Adams. Softly over the top of the blockers, and it falls as they turn around, try to reorient and find the ball. Not enough time. Point, Jackson State.
got a little bit undisciplined play. Playing a little bit frantic. Could be a lot more communication.
Good block there, Jackson State. See here on the replay.
Great job setting that block by Flanagan.
Right there. Good block, and Jackson State down 4. On the outside.
That's a great reverse. She's just got to make a play here. That was a great choice.
And Alabama State with the block party.
I love that both teams are changing it up. They're setting their right sides a lot. They're setting their middles when they can. It's really important because they're both great blocking teams. So trying to make the blockers play honest and not be able to cheat over.
Jackson State has been trying to make up ground here on Alabama State, but every time they get a little mini run, Alabama State responds. The point here is going to go to Alabama State, and they now lead it by 6.
Jackson State setter a little upset, wanting to know what else can I do with that ball, but she should definitely be blaming her passer. She's passing a little bit too tight, but she's a little frustrated with the officials right now, so she's not really seeing it that way. But passers have got to bring that ball off the net for safety reasons, so the hitters can see the block, and so she doesn't touch the net, which is a violation.
Yeah, you talk about safety. That's one thing that people don't, at least I didn't think a lot about. You know, you got players, if you got players on both sides right at the net jumping up and down, there's a chance to land on somebody else's foot. And that's the worst way to turn your ankle is when you come down expecting solid ground. You land on somebody's foot, your ankle is going to twist right away.
Absolutely. That's where a lot of the injuries take place. I call it the red zones. Always encourage my players, stay 1.5 to 2 feet away from the net. That's as close as you can get. Anything closer, nothing good happens.
So if you're Coach Washington in that timeout, how much of it is strategy? How much of it is psychology, just trying to get your team to get past their frustration, stay in the moment, and climb back into this very crucial second set?
Well, at this point, if they're still holding on to any mistakes they've made, they got to let those go. Got to lock back in. This pass right here is important, so worrying about the pass. Not playing outside of your game. Don't do anything you don't usually do. Staying alert. Hitters having a plan. It's a little bit tight.
Tried to go with that left hand again on the outside. Not effective that time for Jalen Whitten.
That's a missed opportunity. The setter set that really, really tight. It's a great pass. It's another great pass.
From the back, right there. Fills the void, gets the point. You know who it is, Alexis Williams.
Alexis Williams, she's a walking kill. Basketball, you're a walking bucket, she's a walking kill. They know if they need to get a quick point, they can go to her. She can get it done.
And she's been doing it all weekend long, but can she extend it to one more day as her team trails Alabama State, who now leads 19-12 over Jackson State here in the second set.
It's a great block attempt. Timing was just a little bit off. It kind of deflected off. That's a really hard ball to get up.
Alexis Williams in the season is that one. Oh, they're going to have to do their best to get it back over.
It's a great rundown.
Comes away with the block and then the kill to follow that up. Great job that time by Whitten. I mean, you talk about your reactionary skill here with the block. Oh, it's coming back.
And the happy birthday, and that's exactly what you're supposed to do with that. Put it away. It's free gift.
From the outside.
It's a great dig by the libero.
Williams rides the rail, punches it over. Another little touch. Oh, good save. To Williams, she gets it over. Here we go again. Little rally developing here. And that's going to end with a point for Alabama State. Boy, there was a little sequence there. That looked like backyard volleyball for a couple of...
Yeah, a lot of hustle plays.
The fans urging Jackson on as Alabama State getting a little bit closer here to thinking about winning this second set.
It's a way to take care of that ball.
At the net, it's going to be a touch and out of bounds. Point to Alabama State.
It's a great way to use the block, really high off the hands.
Alabama State on the serve.
Not a lot of options out of that serve receive, and Alexis Williams got to make a better decision than that.
Yeah, that possession went downhill really quickly there. Alabama State in a mood to close out this set, up 22-13. Williams. It's going to go to Alabama State here. And you can see things slipping away for Jackson State. It's Alabama State on a bit of a roll. They only need 2 more. Up by 10 here, 23-13. Williams. Point goes to Jackson State.
And we got an internet call.
Jackson on the serve. They need to put together a big run right here. And they can start with a block party just like that. 23-15. Coach Washington urging her team on.
Stuff blocks definitely can change momentum. They're a little demoralizing, you could say. So that was a great job stopping.
Well, we got a whistle right at the serve.
It looks like a miscommunication. The up ref thought he heard the down ref blow her whistle, and she did not.
That takes away a little bit of your mojo there, especially when you're in mid-serve and you get the whistle. And another block on that edge, Jackson State.
Starting with that sequence is starting with a tough serve that they're passing behind the 10-foot line, leaving them the only options to go outside or to go back to the right side, which the blocker can kind of cheat over, and that's exactly what the middle blocker's doing. She's reading the setter. She's like, she's going out. They're there and stopped and pressing into the court. So pretty easy play to make, but it starts with a tough serve from her teammates and then them not passing in front of the 10-foot line.
So you're Jackson State. You got to dip into your I believe cup a little bit here. You're still down by 7. It's very close for Alabama State to close it out here in the second set. They only need 2 more points. If you're Jackson State, you really do not want to be into a 2-0 hole and a best out of 5 against the top team in the SWAC.
You don't. Based on the numbers, there's a huge chance they're going to get to 25 before Jackson State does. But you know you need some momentum going into set 3. So you want to play really, really, really hard right here. You want to not worry about the score, because there's a huge chance they're going to pull this off. They just need 2 points. Really focus on getting better and making those adjustments and getting some momentum, which they've gotten. Those blocks in the last two points were amazing. So focus on what you control. Serve tough right here. Blockers, keep doing what you're doing.
Bryant to the back row. Jackson State keeps it in play. Williams rejected at the net.
Williams set inside. I'd like to see her maybe send a ball to the deep corner down the line, maybe tip just over the block. When she's set inside like that against this team, there's not a lot of places she can go with the ball. She's kind of trapped.
Alabama State serving, set point. Will it be decided here? It will. Alabama State takes the second set. They now lead it 2-0 over Jackson State. They win this one 25-16. What'd you see there overall in the second set?
I really think Alabama State is just playing so confident. Even when they make mistakes, they're kind of shaking it off very quickly. They blocked really well. Their serving was incredible. Those deep float serves are giving them a little bit of issues. When they run the middle, it's scary. They capitalized on some of the miscues for Jackson State. So there's some points they didn't even have to work very hard for. Jackson State kind of gave some of those points to them. So I thought we'd have a different result. I didn't think the point margin would be that wide. But I don't think they're going to quit. I think they're going to come out and they're going to make some adjustments and they're going to try to make this a game.
All right, we are at the intermission Alabama State has won the first two sets, winning set one 25-18. They win set two 25-16. One more to go for Alabama State, and they will advance to the SWAC championship final game tomorrow. The winner of today will take on the winner of our second game, Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman. Still a lot of volleyball to go. Hang out. We appreciate your company. Stick around a few more minutes. We're going to take a break, and we'll come back and resume action here in Houston, Texas. You're watching the SWAC Digital Network. This is the SWAC Volleyball Championship from the campus of Texas Southern University. We'll be right back. All right, everyone, welcome back to the 2022 SWAC Volleyball Championship. Alabama State leads Jackson State 2 sets to none. This could be the deciding set if Alabama State can wrap it up, and Jackson State this set very badly.
It's a great serve receive.
And they start things off with a point here for Jackson State. Tolly Carr along with Tamika Newman. And
big time hit out of the break. Hadn't heard much from Jalen Witten. Got a double contact.
That's going to go in Jackson State's favor.
So unforced errors you don't want to commit. Great pass and serve receive.
And in the net there.
And that's an unforced error by Jackson State. They're going to have to limit those if they want to have a chance to win this set.
Back to the line is Brooke Adams. Brooke on the serve.
They don't want to let Brooke Adams go on a run.
And that's out of bounds on the hit, and that's going to even things up at 2 apiece.
Love that swing, super aggressive swing. Don't mind seeing it again. I would be telling her, do it again. If I were a coach, let's run it again. Not a lot of options there.
A big block party. Has anyone come up bigger today than Khalesia Bates?
She's having an amazing year. She's a grad student. There's no nerves. She understands the gravity of this game. She's leading her team well. Her energy's great. She's an amazing volleyball player.
Yeah, she also understands how to defeat gravity. She gets off the ground in front of that net. Whoa, that's a high arcing ball there in the rafters.
Great athletic ability.
Williams, stuffed but out of bounds. Jackson State ties things up here at 3 apiece. Back on the serve is Trinity Bryant. From the corner, and that's touched by JSU. Point, Alabama State.
Big swing. Touch wasn't easily, couldn't see it, that it had been touched. I'm sure someone would have went for it. I didn't really see a deflection until they called it.
I'll tell you, the speed. You have to appreciate the speed. You have to be in person to really appreciate how fast things move here in volleyball.
Absolutely. The speed of the game has increased tremendously.
There's a little break in the action. During the last timeout, we took an opportunity to look at SWAC football scores. The SWAC West is trying to be decided. If Prairie View A&M were to beat Mississippi Valley State, that's all they had to do. And they will go to the SWAC championship game. If you're not watching, with 10:38 remaining in the fourth quarter, Mississippi Valley State is beating Prairie View right now 17-7. Texas Southern is beating Alabama A&M 14-3 in the third quarter. If Mississippi Valley State holds on, Texas Southern fans are feeling really, really good right now. Jackson State leads Alcorn State 17-7, and FAMU over Bethune-Cookman. It's at halftime in the Florida Classic, 27-7. Those are football scores right now. Big football Saturday. 4 games. Of course, next week there's the Bayou Classic and the Turkey Day Classic. But right now we're at the SWAC Volleyball Championship. We'll get FAMU and Bethune-Cookman a little later this afternoon. So you get a double dose of that rivalry. You get it on the football side and you get it on the volleyball side today. Looks like the Rattlers are getting the better of the Wildcats on the football field. Maybe the Lady Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman can say things a little differently later this afternoon on volleyball, but it will not be easy. FAMU, Alabama State, these two teams have set the tone in the SWAC all season long.
Absolutely. Won't be easy, will be a dogfight. Looks like Coach Washington is having an exchange with the official.
They're talking here. See Coach Washington and the official. I don't know if they're talking about person. It looks like the official has a roster in her hand. Well, she has a piece of paper, I'm assuming is a roster, and she's pointing to players, and Coach Washington is trying to explain. I'm not sure exactly what the conversation is there.
Looks like they might have gotten out of rotation. A few things could have happened here. The rotation is checked at the beginning of each set based on what the coach turns into the scores table. And the officials at the scores table are keeping track that you're rotating in the order that you wrote down originally. Looks like something may have went wrong, which happens.
In that situation, what do they do to remedy that, or are you subject to any penalty for being out of rotation there?
You are. It depends on when they caught it. If you voluntarily asked for a lineup check because you believed you were out of rotation, if they realized it, you could lose points. So they're going to get them in the right rotation. They're going to take a look at the scorebook and see if they scored some points while they were out of rotation. Those points will be taken away. So we just have to see what the verdict is right here.
This, sometimes you just have to have a master's in lip reading here. And it looks like they have adjusted the scoreboard. It was 4-4. There's been an adjustment where it now reads 4-3 in favor of Alabama State. And I think that's where things are going to stand here. So we're back to 4-3. Alabama State serving. Adams gets a hand on it. He's going to get this one over. Jackson State sets something up to the middle. And that's going to be point Jackson State.
Jada Rhodes in the net.
So they have to work to get that point back, and they do. We are back at 4-all. Jackson State. Carice Dove is back to serve.
It's a great pass by Brooke Adams. We had all options. They chose to go right side. And it's a great hit.
That point goes to Alabama State. Brooke Adams does a lot of the small things well for this Alabama State team.
She does. Really skilled player. That's right off the hand, the outside hand of Jada Rhodes. So she could have been one more step to her left to avoid getting used off that left hand.
Tied up at 5. Williams on the serve from the outside. Just a soft little touch there.
Rhodes overran the set just a bit. That's going to be really tight.
Net. Alabama State to the outside. Back row save. Into the net. Point, Alabama State.
She's got to find the court. Just blockers are there and stopped. Deep shot to either corner would have been perfect. Give your defense a chance to reset and work at getting a good set, your set, and then put that ball away.
From the basketball line.
And a little bit out of system here. Not going to get anything out of that.
Right in the middle. Big save there by Jackson State. From the corner. Finds the sweet spot and point. Lady Tigers.
Witten redeems herself there. That's a really great ball. She's got to be ready for those out-of-system balls. They're keeping Jackson State out of system a lot, so she's got to get comfortable hitting that out-of-system ball.
Oh, they're just going to have to get that over there.
And that's really low.
Bray taps it over. Back, another soft tap there.
A little small ball here. And Alexis is going to finish the rally.
Well, those possessions didn't go the way they were planned, but you have to have the ability to kind of ad-lib and get back in sync, and Jackson State was able to do that.
Yeah, Jackson State gets back in sync by, where's Alexis Williams? We got to find her. It's a really great job by Alabama State reading that ball out.
Yeah, Jada Rhodes thought about it in the last second. She pulled back. Good decision. Out of bounds. Point to Alabama State.
Jackson State with a chance to go ahead here. That'd be a great morale booster. It's a great pass.
From the edge, and that's a block.
Maya Finley getting in on the block party. We hadn't heard much from her.
It's always a good time to show up. And there she was on the front row. Right here, challenge at the net, and that's going to go to Alabama State.
Coach Washington not pleased with the lift call. Starts with the pass. Like to see the pass 3 feet off the net here. Give them some options.
That serve just gets over from the edge. That's going to be touched out of bounds. Point, Jackson State.
That's a great use. Block was sitting there waiting because they knew she was the only option based on the pass. Really smart idea to use them because there was nowhere else she could go other than tipping it, and they would be waiting on that too.
Thompson back to serve. Drops it in there. A little prolonged contact.
Prolonged contact, absolute. Well, double contact, so the balls contact the ball the hands contacted the ball at 2 different times. It started with the pass. It was too low, too far off the net. Not a lot the setter could do.
Ooh, right in the middle there.
Alabama State's passes to target. They can run the middle all day. This will get pretty ugly. We know that Khalesia Bates will dominate. If they set her, it's really hard to just get a hand on her ball. It's most likely going to wind up with a kill.
Bates, the grad student from Phoenix City, Alabama.
It's a great dig. Wow.
That was in. That is a point. Alabama State leads it 11-9. This is the point, like we've seen in the first 2 sets, they go back and forth, and this is the time where Alabama State so far has started to pull away. Let's see if Jackson State can stay within striking distance, maybe retake the lead. It might start there. Big block, Jackson State.
Perfect timing for that block. They missed the offensive opportunity the play before that. So way to make up for it with the block.
Jylen Whitten on the serve. Good serve there.
Great serve between zone 6 and zone 1. The setter, the libero, kind of made a late move. That ball hits her and goes out.
And you see right there. Makes the dive, but the ball is on the move, out of bounds. Point, Jackson State. Goes back at her again. Just a little tip over there.
Khalesia Bates just had to do whatever she could with that ball.
That one-on-one battle at the net goes to Bates. Alabama State up 12-11. They like who they have back at the service line. This is Brooke Adams, a consistent server for the Lady Hornets.
Got Flanagan, Williams on front row. Great job hitting the blocker, hitting those high hands, getting a deflection. Now would be the time for Flanagan, Williams to take over.
Talia Gaines, the senior from Daytona Beach. Back on the serve. Oh, you just see it before it happens. when everything lines up right for Bates at the net, there's not much you can do about that.
Not a thing you could do about it.
Bates on the serve right into the net. So Alabama State gives it back after the big finish by Bates. Karis Dove on the serve for Jackson State. On the outside. She tries to keep it in play, but out of bounds over the bench.
Great hit by Tania Jones. Her teammate, Mahogany Vincent, really sold that she was going to get that set. She went in with great intent and pace and tempo. She calls hard for the ball. And blockers have to respect her, so they're a little late getting out there to Tania Jones.
And that's long. Point, Alabama State.
Alexis overran that just a little bit. And that's going to be a missed opportunity for Jackson. They really needed that.
They're now back down by 2, 15-13, trailing 2 sets to none. Williams gets it over. There's Adams. In the middle, deflection is touched, out of bounds. Point, Alabama State.
Middle blocker, number 21, Jordan Jones, is up. She's in the right spot, but she's not pressing over.
Good save there.
Great defensive play, really disciplined. Jackson was all over that tip.
Bray. Back to Adams on the back row. All right, Jackson State's going to reset to Williams in the net. And that rally ends with a Jackson State score. They trail at 16-14.
Those blockers have really got to be aware in those long rallies when they sprint back to the net to defend that they check their spacing every single time. And they're just getting really, really close. And the more lateral you move, the closer you get to the net.
The power. Vincent brings the pain on the ball. Alabama State up 17-14.
Very hard for the defense to get stopped and get ready to make the play on that quick set.
So again, we were here in the second set. Tamika Newman here on the broadcast, along with myself, Tali Carr. JSU is right there, but Alabama State's also, I always feel like the first team that gets to 20, I kind of feel like they have that mental edge because now it becomes just a 5-point game for them. There's 3 points between Jackson State tying Alabama State, and there's also 3 points until Alabama State can get to 20 and really start to see the end of this thing. These next 4 or 5 possessions could be the possessions of the match here.
Yeah, these next few possessions will tell the story of the match. The score is ASU is playing pretty dominant volleyball. The score is not a reflection of that because they're committing some unforced errors that aren't very timely. So they're giving some points away, but they're playing pretty well. Although there's just a 3-point deficit, it'd be really hard to beat them with how poised they're playing right now. So if they minimize unforced errors, they're going to be able to take this set. Not to mention everybody's contributing.
A balanced attack for Alabama State. Jada Rhodes back at the basketball line. Bray gets this kill. All right, that's 1 possession. It goes to Jackson State. Again, these next 3-4 possessions, very crucial. Let's see what happens. Jackson State, Bryant, back on the serve.
Great pass, all 3 options.
Because the one thing you can't do if you're Jackson State, you can't trade points because Alabama State's too close to winning. You've got to run off some points here.
Absolutely, they need a run, a side out, so a pass set hit would be very timely right here. It's a great pass, all options. Starts with a pass.
There's Witten there with the score, so that pulls Jackson State to within 2 at 18-16.
And I think Coach White is telling her blockers that they've got to get more, take away more of the line. The defense they run isn't really designed to dig that deep line ball.
Oh, that one goes over. That takes Alabama State out of system. From the edge. And that's a point, Jackson State. We have ourselves a set here, 18-17. Alabama State leads it. Jackson State has run off a few points since the last time out, and we're going to have a challenge here.
Coach White is going to challenge that call by the lines judge.
All right, let's take a look at it here. Is it in or is it out? See the hit there. It's hard to tell from that angle. This will be the angle. This will be the angle here. Oh, that's in. The ball's about to hit. It just has to hit the line. Take a look in slow motion. I think that's in.
I'm going with in as well, Tolly.
We had one yesterday that was, it was like a hair length decision of whether it was in or out, but that one seems to be pretty close to me. I mean, not close. Well, it is official. It is final. SWAC football. Mississippi Valley State has defeated Prairie View A&M, which opens up the SWAC West. The only thing Prairie View had to do was win. Win, and you're in the SWAC championship for the second year in a row. They did not do that. And your casual fan, your serious fan, I would say most people thought, all right, Prairie View's going to beat Valley.
This Panther definitely thought we would beat Valley.
Well, somebody didn't tell Valley. They won it convincingly, 27-7. Texas Southern leads Alabama A&M 14-3. Jackson State leads Alcorn State 17-7 at halftime. That Texas Southern and Alabama A&M game was in the third quarter. FAMU big over Bethune. FAMU, if they win, probably makes the NCAA FCS playoffs. So even though they won't win the East or go to the Celebration Bowl, still a postseason probably on the line here for the second year in a row for FAMU.
It's a great serve, pushed him deep.
From the corner.
Great job, Flanagan.
Well, they're doing what they needed to do. We're tied at 18. Now their chance to get to 25 is mathematically equal.
Coach White wanting to talk about it.
What do you think Coach White is saying right now? She's up 2-1. She would love to finish things out here.
1 point at a time. Her blockers being disciplined, being stopped and pressing, which was the issue there. Not getting ahead of yourself. Really locking in on what you're doing. Knowing where you are. They've had some unforced errors early on in the set. And obviously right now would be the worst timing for that. So she's probably talking about those little things. Get to your spot, be there, be stopped, over-communicating. Is key, over-communicating. And then going to cover, because when they're hitting, Jackson State's going to be up. They're going to be blocking. They need to be down and ready to cover those balls. So do your job, do your job, do your job.
That is the key. Do your job. Will we see the discipline that it takes to make it through this third set? We're all tied at 18 here at SWAC Volleyball Championship, Houston, Texas, campus of Texas Southern University. Also have to congratulate the Southern University men last night. They got another win. The SWAC is really taking care of business in this SWAC Pac-12 series that we have going in basketball.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Playing some big-time basketball and then closing the gap.
They got the win over Cal last night. All right, here we go from the edge. Way to dig it out there. At the net, and that point's going to go to Alabama State.
I talked about this earlier. Whitten really has to get comfortable hitting out of system, and you can see that she's not. She's having to hit the ball at 10 or 12 feet, and she's probably wanting it more at 3 to 5 feet, but she's got to get comfortable hitting the ball there because they're playing out of system most of the set.
And that point goes to Jackson State. Challenge at the net, and it favors the Lady Tigers, who now have things all tied up here at 19 apiece. Substitutions coming into the game for Alabama State. Whitten on the serve.
We got our options.
And that's going to go to Alabama State. They're going to say that was touched. Are we going to get a challenge here?
Coach Rose Washington wanted to use her challenge.
So the initial call was that it was a touch. We'll go back and watch the instant replay here. Hard to tell from that angle. Alabama State was initially, as soon as the play developed and finished, Bates was saying there's a touch, there's a touch.
And I think they're saying Alexis Williams, it touched probably her pinky.
Yeah, the ball's moving so fast there from that edge, it's hard to tell. Of course, you see Thompson there for Jackson State saying no touch.
It was a very small touch, if one at all. Let's see.
Okay, we're going to take it from the serve here. All right, you see Bates coming up. Let's watch it one more time. And the in-arena crowd is watching the replay that you see as well. I'd say that's a touch. It looked like the ball hit her hand and changed direction.
Yeah, it was a very...
See it here.
It's a hard call to make.
The hit. It's definitely on track to hit Williams' hand there, and it seemed like the ball. Okay, we're going to zoom in some. From that angle, it definitely seems like I would go with the touch. And you see the ball kind of ricochets to the right after the hit. Great job on the instant replay, the zoom in. I would say that the call will stay here.
A lot at stake right now.
See back at the scorer's bench, scorer's table. And the official says the call remains with Alabama State. But if you're Jackson State, you don't have anything to lose.
You don't, and Coach Rose Washington knows that.
So that puts now Alabama State up 20-19. Does the first team to 20 get a mental edge here? And it seems like every time we look up and there's a big serve, Brooke Adams is back on that line.
Coach Rose Washington, Not excited to see her back there at this juncture in the set.
Very consistent, doesn't get rattled at the line. And the block there for Alabama State. Rack up another point on the board. They now lead at 21-19.
Adams served right to the libero. She passed the dime, we call it in volleyball. They set the middle, but middle was trapped a little bit. She was a little too close to the setter and the ball, not able to finish her swing.
From the edge, point to Jackson State.
More of that from Flanagan. She's got one more rotation on front row. See if they can run off a couple of points here. It's going to start with her blocking right here. She can make a big play.
All right, to the outside. Jackson State keeps it in play. At the net, Williams denied. Other side. And that is out. Point goes to Alabama State.
It's a really great spot if that was in. I love that. Flanagan loves to go to that right sideline. It's a really hard ball to defend.
Bates back to serve from the basketball line. Right in the middle, that's up at the net.
Too tight.
Flanagan just gets it over. And that is touched out of bounds to Alabama State. So we saw a Jackson State run. Alabama State has come back and answered with a 3-point run of their own. And now they are just 2 points away from advancing to the SWAC championship game. There's a timeout here. Jackson State has done it before, running off a few quick points. They're going to have to come back out and do that again. They can't afford any more mistakes right now. Alabama State has already rang the doorbell for the championship. They're just waiting for the door to open here. So our next game is going to be FAMU versus Bethune-Cookman. A little double dip of the Florida Classic, except the Florida Classic in Houston version. They're meeting on the football field today, playing right now. That's always the big game to end the regular season for those two schools. Looks like FAMU's getting the better of Bethune-Cookman there. Can Bethune-Cookman kind of even up that rivalry today? And that will be an upset if they were able to defeat FAMU in our next match.
Absolutely. I'm sure both fans are in for a treat.
And here we go. Alabama State on the verge of closing things out here, serving 2 points away from taking this match 3-0. Here comes Williams. She's denied. Williams again.
With the changeup. Great job changing it up. She knew the blockers were there because they knew she was going to be set, so she couldn't just power swing at it. She did a little bit of an off speed and caught the back line of Alabama State kind of back on their heels.
So that's 1 point. You need 2 more to tie it up here. 23-21. Alabama State sends it home. That was Mahogany Vinson, the senior from Richton Park, Illinois. And now Alabama State serving. Match point here. They lead at 24-21. Can they end it here?
A little wide on the set, and nothing she could do with it.
And that's how it will end. Alabama State wins it over Jackson State. 25-21. That's 3-0. They take it. They advance to take on the winner of FAMU, Bethune-Cookman. Tamika, your thoughts on what we saw here?
Pretty dominant match by ASU. There were some moments we thought Jackson State would be in it, but the calmness and the ability to make adjustments and get over mistakes quickly from Alabama State was hard to believe that Jackson State could pull it off. Then the amount of players that contributed to it. There are some players that contributed some blocks they usually don't. Everybody got in on the kills. Their serve receive was very consistent. Brooke Adams was amazing back there. They played a complete match. They probably had too many unforced errors. Coach White's not going to be pleased with those. She knows they'll have to clean them up for the championship game. But a pretty dominant performance by Alabama State. Jackson State showed their youth in some of their positions. Some players that weren't at the level that they need to be at for the semifinal game. Their experience just didn't lend to that, so they'll learn from it. They'll grow. We'll see Jackson State back here next season. They'll go get better.
Well, Alabama State takes care of business. They win it in 3 straight sets, 25-18, 25-16, and the last set, which we just saw, 25-21. We're probably about 50 minutes away from our next match, the final match of the evening, the second half of the semifinal matchup here at the 2022 SWAC Volleyball Championship. It'll be Bethune-Cookman, Florida A&M. Those two rivals will try to settle it here on the volleyball court. On behalf of Tamika Newman, I am Tali Carr. Tamika, I enjoyed working with you this weekend. Look, you and your daughter are here. Get some popcorn, get some more Gatorade, enjoy this second match. Jocelyn Adams will join us for the second call. We'll be back in just a bit. You're watching the SWAC Digital Network. Hang tight. We'll set the second half of the championship when we return.